In this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 10 best power forward cards right now in NBA 2K23 My Team. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below, who do you guys think are the best power forward cards currently in the game? And of course, let me know what you guys would change about my top 10. But coming in at the number 10 spot is going to be the Dark Matter playoff Giannis. I think because of his size, being 7 foot at the power forward position, also with a 7'4" wingspan, we know Giannis has one of the better player models in the game currently, and he's going to be such an elite versatile defender. He's got a 90 block, 95 steal, 96 lateral quickness, 96 perimeter with a 96 interior defense, and then he also does have tons and tons of good Hall of Fame defensive badges, only missing 2 on Hall of Fame. And then you take a look at his stats, super well rounded, besides his 3 ball only at a 79, and the fact that his jump shot is, I mean, it's definitely a decent release. It's nothing too crazy, but I think it's not terrible, but it's not also a great jump shot. But I think Giannis really does make up for it just with his animations in game. He gets great defensive animations, whether it's contesting shots, blocking shots, grabbing rebounds. You know, he runs the floor really well, and I think at the power forward position is the 10th best in the game. At the number 9 spot might seem a little bit surprising, and I think it's actually going to be Galaxy Football Kevin Garnett. He's 6'11" at the 4 with a 7'2" wingspan, and still is all around an absolute beast on the defensive end. I know he has that Dark Matter version, which yes, is a lot better of a card at the shooting guard or small forward position because he can have more size at the 3, but those cards are very similar. Like if you take a look at their stats and their badges and their animations, it's not going to be too big of a difference. Like yes, obviously the Dark Matter does have better stats. You take a look at the animations, he's got his jump shot on very quick timing, but besides that, and obviously like the Chris Paul escape over the Kobe size up, or the Chris Paul escape over the Kobe escape, they're very similar cards animations wise. And yes, this one's a Dark Matter, so he does have those 15 extra Hall of Fame badges, and obviously I'm saying that this card is a lot better, but I think at the power forward spot, this card is still a top 10 power forward in the game, mainly due to his jump shot being a very good release. He's got solid dribble sigs and does play very good defense in game. But at the number 8 spot is going to be the Dark Matter Hakeem Olajuwon. He's a center power forward, 7 foot with a 7'3" wingspan. I think honestly number 8 all the way through till number 5 could really be flipped in whatever order you want to. I think there's so many power forwards that are very similar in the game that I'll talk about here in a second, but I got Hakeem number 8. I think he does everything at a very solid level, and it really just comes down to the card's jump shot. I mean, he can move really well, you know, for a power forward or a center card. He's got great defensive stats and badges, including a 97 block, 98 interior defense, 90 steal, 91 perimeter, and then he's almost got every single Hall of Fame defensive badge. I just wish his jump shot was a tad bit better, at least for me personally. Not the biggest fan of his release. Like I think you can still knock down consistently with this card. I just think there are power forwards who do have better jump shots. At the number 7 spot though is going to be once again a very similar power forward card, and that's the Hero Joel Embiid. He's got 40 Hall of Fame badges because he has the hero version. He's got perfect stats and badges all around. He's 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan, and once again it really just comes down to whose jump shot you prefer between Hakeem and Embiid. I think they're very similar power forward cards. Just for me personally, I like his release a tad bit more. They both have very similar dribble sigs. They both have the Kemba size up, and they both have great escapes as well, with Embiid having the wall escape and Hakeem having the Chris Paul escape. They got, you know, very similar jump shots in a sense, but I do like Embiid's a tad bit more, and I think his player model is also slightly better in game, and I think he does become the 7th best power forward in my 7th best power forward currently in my team. At the number 6 spot is going to be Dark Matter D-Rob. Once again, really just comes down to whose jump shot you do prefer, and I like D-Rob's release a little bit more than Joel's and Hakeem's because he's 7'1", 7'5" wingspan, has a great player model. Like I did mention, number 8, which was Hakeem Olajuwon, you know, and then we do have a D-Rob at number 6, and then even number 5 as well, I think are super comparable and really could be flipped in whatever which order. If you want to put Embiid over Joel, or sorry, if you want to put Embiid over D-Rob, I think that's perfectly cool to do. If you want to throw Hakeem over Embiid and D-Rob, I think that's also perfectly cool as well. To me, it really just comes down to the jump shots and whose release you do like the most. And I would say between Embiid and between Hakeem Olajuwon, I do like D-Rob's release a tad bit more. And also it does come down to player model, because at the number 5 spot here, halfway into the top 10 power forwards, is going to be Dark Matter Dwight. And the reason why I have him over Embiid, have him over D-Rob and Hakeem is yes, their stats and badges are going to be very similar, and I do like his jump shot kind of on par with all those guys' releases. I think Dwight doesn't have the best release between the D-Rob and Embiid. Embiid and Hakeem, but the main difference is this man on the defensive end, I know they have the exact same stats and badges basically, but his defensive animations, I don't know if it's because of his player model, just the animations he gets in game are ridiculously good. You know, he gets tons of blocks, he plays great paint defense. Not saying that D-Rob and Hakeem, you know, those cards don't play good defense, but this man Dwight, I can notice, you know, on the defensive end a little bit of a difference between these 4 power forwards, with Dwight being an amazing rebounder, great shot blocker, great at contesting, you know, inside looks. He's just all around a defensive presence, and I do think between, once again, D-Rob, Embiid, Hakeem, and Dwight, it can really be flipped in whatever order you want to. But I got Hakeem at number 8, Embiid at number 7, D-Rob at number 6, and then Dwight Howard at number 5. And I think these next 4 guys kind of take that next step up. At the number 4 spot though, I do have the Dark Matter Kareem. Now I'm not the biggest fan of this card. He's just going to be overpowered because he's 7'2" at the power forward spot with his 7'5" wingspan. He has great all-around defensive stats, 98 block, 96 interior defense, 94 steal, 93 perimeter. Just his size, his athleticism, his defensive Hall of Fame badges, I do think makes him a little bit better than cards like Dwight Howard, Hakeem, Embiid, and D-Rob, because his jump shot really isn't the best. Like, I would definitely take all those cards jump shots over Kareem, but he's just got such a good player model in game, and that really does make a difference at the power forward spot. At the number 3 spot though, I do have the Dark Matter Dikembe. Even though I think he's much better at the center spot, I think all of these guys previously all play the power forward position a lot better than they play center. But the one card so far, maybe Kareem as well, but I think Dikembe definitely plays better at center than he does the power forward position. But I still think he's a top 3 power forward. He's 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan. He's got an amazing player model in game, and I think he's very similar to Kareem. I just like his jump shot a tad bit more than all of the power forwards previously, and I do like his release a lot more than a card like Kareem's, and that's probably the biggest difference, because they're all going to be elite on the defensive end. A lot of these power forwards, it really just comes down to player model, height, wingspan, and then jump shots, because everything else is very similar. They all got great defensive stats, they all have great defensive hops, they're all pretty quick, they can all finish around the rim. I mean, they got very similar badges across the board, so it really just comes down to those kind of 3 or 4 things. Obviously the height, the wingspan, the player model, and then also the jump shot as well. At the number 2 spot though, I do have Dark Matter Kristaps. I think his ability to stretch the floor is super valuable at the power forward spot. Being 7'3" with a 7'6" wingspan, he's actually going to be the second tallest power forward in the game, I do believe, at least on this list. He is the second tallest power forward, which is crazy to say, because he's also probably has the best jump shot, I would say, out of all of these 10 power forwards. I mean, you could argue like maybe a Kevin Garnett has a better release potentially, but I think Porzingis, for his size, has the best release in the game. Super easy to knock down. He plays solid defense. He's also fairly quick for a Kristaps card. I mean, he was so ahead of his time coming out over almost 2 months ago now, and I feel like he's still the second best power forward in the game and one of the best centers. But at the number 1 spot, it's going to be that man, Pink Diamond Taco Fall. Like, he's just so overpowered and so glitchy in the game. I really wish he wasn't in the game. Like, if I could choose if Taco was in the game or wasn't, I would definitely choose he's not, because it just makes the game so much harder to deal with a card like Taco. You have to go spend so much MT to either get Taco Fall, because there's no really good budget options for the power forward position. We definitely are getting better budget centers in the game to kind of counteract the Kristapses, the Yao Mings, those really tall centers, but there's no kind of power forwards in the game that are at a super cheap price tag that can go up against a card like Taco Fall. So hopefully we get maybe like a George Mirasan that can play power forward, or like a Sean Bradley, a Manute Bol that can play power forward, and that can kind of counteract Taco Fall. But right now I do think he's the best power forward in the game. He's 7'6", 8'2" wingspan, one of the best player models, just so overpowered and broken at the power forward spot, because he actually has a very capable jump shot. He can knock down threes, defend at a very high level, and this 64 speed and 64 acceleration is probably the biggest myth in my team right now. He just runs so quick on the court, and really, I mean, you can take advantage of his speed, you know, being a little bit slower, but he feels perfectly fine at the power forward position. And in my opinion, I do think he's the best power forward currently in my team. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about my top 10 power forwards, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.